What's up, guys? I'm Michael. Welcome to this week's Behind Box Office. In early August, we compiled a full ranking of the most profitable movies of 2022 so far. Today, we're gonna hop to the opposite end of the spectrum and see what are the biggest money losers this year. Not only those high-profile blockbusters that crashed hard made the list, but also did some little-known movies that equally lost tons of cash. Are you ready? Let's go! Number 5. Coming off the heels of Murder on the Orient Express in 2017, a sequel was quickly greenlit. However, so many things have happened since. The studio behind the franchise, 20th Century Fox, was devoured by Disney in 2019. Then, a series of production troubles ensued, including controversy surrounding Armie Hammer. Adding to its misery is the global pandemic, which pushed the film's release date for a total of 6 times before settling on February 11th. But it crashed nevertheless, opening to a meager $12.89 million. Death on the Nile wrapped up with around $45 million in North America, or less than half of its predecessor. Its overseas gross collapsed likewise, even with the help of both Russia and China at over $10 million each, a rare luxury for Hollywood major studios after the Russian invasion of Ukraine in late February. Its global tally of $130 million is merely a third of Murder on the Orient Express. These numbers only translate into an estimated $55 million of theatrical rental, and its total revenue is estimated at $133 million. If you want to know more about the detailed items of actual revenue and cost, feel free to check out the video description. The bad news is that its price tag has risen to $90 million due to the prolonged production, way over the $55 million budget of its predecessor. As a result, its total cost ballooned to an estimated $188 million, leading to a net loss of estimated $55 million for 20th Century Studios and now parent Disney. Turning from a financial hit to a big money loser in only 2 installments, it seems the latest attempts to adapt Agatha Christie's classic novels have hit the rocks. The future of the franchise is now more of a mystery itself than the wide endings of these movies. Number 4. The genre of Asian legend has proved to be a tough sell, creating a string of big flops in recent years, most notably King Arthur, Legend of the Sword in 2017. Unfortunately, the Northman has become the latest example. Opening to $12.29 million in the shadow of Doctor Strange 2's Sufferborn weekend, the Northman failed to reach a wider audience beyond its core adult demographic, ending its domestic run at around $34 million. Taking in a similar overseas growth, its global box office is only $69 million. The 3 biggest international markets, UK, Mexico, and Spain, all fell in the range of $3 to $6 million. This only translates into an estimated $31 million of theatrical rental, adding up to an estimated $76 million of total revenue. However, this kind of movie typically carries a high price tag, as the Northman reportedly cost $75 to $90 million to make. Due to the disruptions caused by the pandemic, the production cost used in our calculation is leaning to the upper end of $90 million. Thus, its total cost is estimated at $155 million, leading to an estimated $79 million of net loss. As one of the non-franchise big-budget movies coming out this summer, it's hard to predict whether the huge failure of the Northman would discourage studios to invest in such ambitious projects in the future. But this specific genre of Viking epic might be shelved for a while. Number 3. The 355, as weird as its name appears, is probably the most surprising movie in today's ranking, simply because it barely made any noise despite being promoted as a globe-trotting, action-packed thriller led by a female ensemble. Opening on the first Friday of 2022, the 355 was totally overwhelmed by then-dominant Spider-Man No Way Home, grossing less than $15 million domestically. Overseas, the 355 didn't see a warmer reception either, running out at around $28 million globally, with France, Japan, and UK all contributing a little more than $1 million. Although Fan Bingbing played a key role in the film, the 355 was unable to secure a Chinese release date, as were many of her recent projects due to a crackdown after the tax evasion scandal. This means it will only bring an estimated $12.6 million of theatrical rental and an estimated $54.6 million of total revenue, with a production cost of $75 million the 355 is destined to lose big bucks for Universal, estimated at $80.4 million per our calculation, slightly higher than the net loss of the Northman. With such a diverse cast and high budget, the 355 clearly had an ambitious goal at first, but all factors seem to be against it in the end. Being one of the biggest bombs of the year is certainly a bitter result and a lesson for others to learn from. Number 2. Once pegged as a potential contender for the Summer Championship, Lightyear crashed from day one to become Pixar's biggest flops to date, a heavy blow for Disney and its streaming-first strategy. Before its release in mid-June, Lightyear was projected to open north of $70 million, but Lightyear couldn't even match this modest expectation, delivering a disappointing $50 million opening to settle at second place. Since then, Lightyear has shown extremely weak legs, posting week-to-week drops of over 50% in 6 of the 8 weekends, poised to become Pixar's lowest-grossing movie domestically excluding Onward, whose run was cut short by the pandemic. Due to controversies surrounding the same-sex kiss scene, Lightyear was denied entry in many foreign countries, leading to an equally weak overseas gross of nearly $100 million as of August 14th, with Mexico, UK, and France the top 3 markets. With no major opening on the horizon, Lightyear is projected to earn $235 million globally. These numbers are horrific by the standard of Pixar, which translates into an estimated $106 million of theatrical rental. Adding that with an estimated $310 million of actual revenue, the total revenue is estimated at $416 million. This is not gonna salvage a blockbuster that cost a hefty $200 million to make. On top of the production budget, the actual cost of Lightyear is estimated at $315 million, leading to an estimated $515 million of total cost. In conclusion, Lightyear is estimated to turn a net loss of $99 million for Disney, a result that was unimaginable beforehand for a prestigious Pixar movie. It's worth noting that Turning Red, another Pixar movie this year, is not included in today's ranking due to its direct-to-streaming arrangements in North America and most of the world. As I argued in a previous video, Disney's discriminatory strategy to send Soul, Luca, and Turning Red directly to Disney Plus has undeniably hurt Pixar's standing, dragging down Lightyear's theatrical performance after a 2-year hiatus from the big screen. Coupled with other issues specific to Lightyear, it looks inevitable to witness such a failure for Pixar in hindsight. One can only hope that future Pixar projects will return to the old day glory, provided that Disney treat them as authentic theatrical movies instead of lower-tier offerings just to fuel streaming growth. Number 1. If one movie is to beat Lightyear in terms of money lost, it must be an epic disaster in every aspect, and that is exactly what Moonfall happens to be. Directed by Roman Emmerich, one of the most experienced filmmakers of the disaster genre, Moonfall turns out to be a grimmer catastrophe itself than all the events depicted in the movie. Opening to a negligible $9.87 million in early February, Moonfall tumbled right out of the gate, ending its domestic run at $19 million. Its overseas story is also mostly sad, except the only bright spot of China, where it grossed over $23 million, the biggest single market for Moonfall even ahead of North America. But China alone cannot save this box office bomb, finishing at $59 million globally. This will only translate into an estimated $22 million of theatrical rental for Lionsgate and other parties involved. Even Moonfall is estimated to bring an extra $82 million through home entertainment and TV sales. The total revenue is estimated at $104 million. That pales in comparison with a price tag of $150 million, let alone an estimated $103 million of actual cost. With the total cost estimated at $253 million, Moonfall will turn in an estimated $149 million of net loss, which means everyone who invested in this project will literally get nothing back after all. At least Lionsgate is not the only one to bear the brunt of this bleeding loss. Huai Brothers, one of the leading Chinese film companies, also took a sizable share of Moonfall among other financing partners. Will the epic failure of Moonfall After a string of setbacks in the past few years, forced Chinese companies out of Hollywood? We'll have to wait and see. Okay, this is the full ranking of the biggest box office bombs of 2022 so far. Which movie has surprised you in terms of net loss? Which upcoming movie you think will make into the list later this year? Feel free to write your thoughts in the comments. And if you think the video is of value, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Your support will encourage me to make more videos. Thanks for watching. See you next time.